intention of backing down in the crisis. This report from the BBC's Michael Macmillan.
The Gulf force is getting bigger by the day, more than 20 ships now, some 500 planes and 200,000 men in the area generally, ready to take on the Iraqi military should the need arise. These latest pictures show the Americans' high-tech stealth fighter bombers in mid-air refueling on their way to the Gulf. The stealth is made of materials which make it virtually undetectable to radar. U.S. Defense Secretary Dick Cheney has been on board the USS Eisenhower, which is in the Red Sea, and restating the hardline policy on the economic blockade. Both the Americans and the British have said they'll use whatever force is necessary to stop supplies entering or leaving Iraq. 2 Iraqi tankers, which had warning shots fired at them 2 days ago when they ignored an order to stop, are now thought to be heading out of the Gulf. The Americans, whose frigate, the USS Reed, was the first to fire shots in anger in these waters, say they're monitoring the tanker's movements.
Announcement on what aid it will send to the Gulf, 2 Air Force Andovers for the United Nations and a 20-strong Red Cross team are being offered. Joe Malcolm has details.
This Andover currently being given a facelift is one of 2 that's being offered to the United Nations. Its twin has spent the past 2 years on peacekeeping duties on the Iran-Iraq border. Mr. Palmer says the Andovers could be used to carry United Nations diplomats in the Gulf, and the government will pay the cost. As well as the Andovers, it's also offering Kiwi medics.
The government has decided to provide a civilian medical team in Saudi Arabia, functioning under the umbrella of the Red Cross Red Crescent organisation.
The plight of Kiwis detained in Kuwait and Iraq is still of great concern. Our officials don't think they're among the Westerners being moved to military targets, but at the same time they've been unable to convince the Iraqis to release them. For the hostages' families, the decision to offer aid only adds to their worries.
I would like to think that the Iraqi authorities don't regard New Zealand as a military threat. That is a selfish viewpoint, I know, but we're very anxious to have Mum and Dad back home, and if that requires New Zealand's keeping out of it, well, that's what we would hope for.
It's not a comfortable feeling that I have about it, but I have to place my faith in the government and in their decisions. If the decision was ultimately mine, then no, there would be no participation from New Zealand on the front line.
The government will brief members of the hostages' families on Thursday, an opportunity to reassure them it's doing everything in its power to help bring the Kiwis home. Joe Malcolm, One Network News.